Another edition of Clan Chat. As the busy off season continues to roll on, it's exciting with the signings coming thick and fast. And an important signing for head coach Corey Neilson was who was going to be his bench boss alongside of him, who was going to be his right-hand man. And it's a pleasure to have Mike Sirant on with us this afternoon. And you know what? You and I were just talking off camera, and it was brilliant because you said it's come full circle for you way back in 1990. Think back to those days in Milton Keynes and just tell us a little bit about your first foray over on this side of the pond, Mike.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for having me on the chat. I'm excited to come to Glasgow and contribute to a winning organization for the Purple Army fans. I know they're very loyal and passionate. I experienced them when I was coaching the University of Manitoba. We went on a tour through the UK and we played in Glasgow. So I know firsthand how great the fans are in Glasgow. But yes, it's coming full circle. My first full-time coaching position was in Milton Keynes back in, as you said, early in the 90s. And at that time, Milton Keynes was a brand new team in the British One Division. And there was nothing. There was no players, no equipment. They didn't even have a pack of team names. So it was literally a fantastic opportunity to build a franchise from the ground floor up and build it to the way you thought was right and establishing the right culture. But the people who owned the facility, and it was a really neat complex. It was an ice rink, a bowling alley, a nightclub, and a restaurant. So the company that owned that facility had no experience with hockey. So I was pretty well on my own to get the program started there, and it was an amazing experience. But while I was doing that, I was also hired part-time by what was then called the British Ice Hockey Association to be their national coaching coordinator and delivering for the first time a national coaching certification program in Britain for British ice hockey coaches. So it was, again, as I said, a fantastic opportunity for me as a young man to get so much valuable experience. And we had some success both with the coaching certification and with the Kings, and wonderful time. And always loved the UK, and I'm excited to come back.
What a recruitment tool, but probably a nightmare for you. Why don't you come play for me in Milton Keynes? There's a rink and a nightclub. I'm sure the players were falling over each other to sign for the Kings. Well, right after the game, we'll go straight into the VIP section of the nightclub. It must have been fun times though, coming over from Canada and starting from the ground up.
It was fun. It was exciting. Right away, the team had a large fan following. The people were very excited in Milton Keynes about ice hockey, this new sport, this intriguing new sport. So we had good crowds right from the start. The fans were fantastic. They were very supportive. Initially, as a new team, we had to find our feet, but they were amazing fans and so supportive. And our players we'd make sure our players would always go into the pub to mingle with the fans after every game, win or lose, to meet the fans and promote the sport.
Think back as well. I mean, you were the GB under 20 head coach as well. So not just club level, you were coaching internationally. I mean, the program's come a long way. And obviously, Corey was just on the bench against the likes of Canada and Finland with Great Britain at the IIHF World Championships. So think back to those couple of seasons coaching the GB under 20s. And do you have any cool memories of that time as well?
Not really. We had a fantastic group of young lads who were good players and very passionate about the game, and we had some good championships. One time we went down to Rome and played in Rome and did very well. But the game in the UK has grown so much since then, and because it was where I started my coaching career, I've always had affinity for hockey in the UK, and I've closely followed the national teams and also, of course, the Elite League with great interest. So again, I'm really excited to come back to the UK and be involved with the Elite League.
Well, we're happy to have you, excited to have you. I know Corey's really excited. Think back to that night at Braehead Arena, though. You bring the Bisons into Braehead Arena. Do you remember the score that night, Bisons Clan?
I do.
How you do? Do you want to tell? For anyone that doesn't remember.
Well, the Bisons won 7-1.
Yeah, I remember. I think John Tripp was the Clan coach at the time, and I'm sure he wasn't happy about that. But yeah, I mean, it just goes to show you, and I think the NCAA has become much more on the radar of fans in the Elite League now too, and the CIS as they call it as well, because I think the Giants have done a pretty good job with the Friendship Four. Every American Thanksgiving, 4 teams come over to Belfast and play, and that's a great tournament. But it just goes to show how good college hockey is, whether it's north or south of the border, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, you mentioned Belfast and Steve Thornton. I developed a good relationship with him because we took the Bisons on 2 tours of the UK. Both times we played in Belfast, and he would contact me every spring looking for our best players coming out of Canada West. So there's a lot of players who I recommended that ended up with Belfast. So now those players are going to be directed, obviously, to the Clan.
I was just going to say, let's shut that line of communication with Steve Thorpe. The Giants are doing just fine after a treble 2 years ago. They don't need any more players sent their way. What was the conversation like with Corey? Because obviously, there you are, and you were in Australia for a time helping a team out there, and we can touch on that if you want. So you're well traveled at this stage. But like, is it an easy conversation with Corey? Because obviously, you say you've been over here with Milton Keynes, you've done some of the GB under 20 stuff, and you've been over here with the Bison. So were you delighted to get that call? Is it an easy conversation when Corey Neilson comes on the phone?
Yeah, absolutely. Very delighted. And it was a very easy conversation. And like that's one of the things that is really exciting me and has attracted me to Glasgow. I mentioned the fans and the fact that my former team, the Bisons, have visited Glasgow and Scotland. And Glasgow is an amazing city. Scotland's a beautiful country. The people are fantastic. So these are all things that attracted me to the Clan: the fans, the city, the country, the leadership group. Michael Rourke, the owner, and his commitment to building a winning culture here in Glasgow. So there's so many things that attracted me to Glasgow, but one of the most important things was the opportunity to work with Corey. I have a lot of respect for Corey. He's one of the most successful coaches in British ice hockey. He's achieved success internationally over in Germany. He's been involved with the national team program, and they've done incredibly well through the past years. So the opportunity to work with Corey was one of the initial attractions for me to express an interest in this position. And our conversation was great. We share so many similarities in terms of our values, our life values, our personal values, and also our, I guess, coaching philosophy and how we prefer our teams to play. Like we both want teams that, if your player personnel allows it to, we both like teams that are going to play fast, that are going to play an up-tempo game, putting a lot of pressure, push the pace, put a lot of pressure on our opponents, that are also, committed defensively, that are going to compete hard every night, and teams that are going to, really, care for each other and respect each other and work hard for each other. So a lot of similarities in how we envision the Clan to look for this coming season.
Well, I know that'll be music to the Purple Army's ears. And you mentioned the fan base. It is a passionate fan base crying out for a magical season. And certainly I think Corey and yourself understand that. And I think with Corey's experience in the Elite League and your experience already being over here as a younger man and bringing all that sort of University of Manitoba experience, but also you've coached at a university games as well, the Universiade with Canada. So there's an international flair to your CV as well. Do you have you look back at those couple of Universiades with fond memories as well?
Yeah, they're amazing. 3 times I had the chance to represent Canada at the World University Games, and that's a very elite level of hockey. It's a multi-sport games, very much like the Olympics. So just being in that atmosphere of an Olympic type environment was really exciting. Very good hockey. We did very well in those games. And just the opportunity to play different styles of hockey, different countries, was certainly great for my development as a coach. I also had the opportunity for 2 years to coach the Danish national team, which of course everybody knows competes in the World A Pool Championships. And very fond memory of my first game at the World Championships in Denmark was in Moscow. Russia was hosting it. And at the time, they had all their top players. They had the Ovechkin and Malkin and everything, because that year it just worked out when Russia was hosting the World Championships. Pittsburgh Penguins, Washington Capitals, and some of the other top teams in NHL were upset in the first round. So all their top players were available. We went on to have a very successful tournament and finished in the top 10, which was the highest ranking that Denmark had achieved up to that time. Since then, Denmark has really grown their game, and they've achieved higher results since then. But the World Championships in Moscow that year with Denmark were pretty special. And we had the dress room next to the Russians, so seeing Ovechkin and all these guys was pretty cool. I didn't realize how big of a man Ovechkin was when I saw him in his workout gear. He is incredibly thick, man. So.
Yeah, I remember I sat down and interviewed him at an NHL All-Star game in Raleigh, and I mean, he was as thick as he was broad. I mean, he's a mountain of a man, and you think about all the 50 goal scorers or the 50 goal seasons he's had, but everyone said, well, you know he's going to be teeing up for the one-timer from that side. Why can't you defend him? Well, you can't defend somebody that can't be pushed off the puck, and you're right, he's an absolute mountain of a man. I can only imagine that must have been a cauldron of noise to open up against the Russians in Moscow, because I did a couple of games at the 2014 Olympics when all the NHLers were there, and certainly all those big names were there as well. And the noise, I'll never forget it. The building was absolutely alive with energy, and unfortunately for them, they didn't do too well against the U.S. I remember the shootout was a TJ Oshie kept standing up there and taking penalty shots, but really, really cool memory, because you really. You talk about coming full circle back to Milton Keynes, but you really have traveled the globe. And we were joking there about Australia, but I mean, you were down there mentoring a team, and it seems to me like you just love the sport and you love the ability to improve yourself as a coach. And certainly, all these steps have now led you to Glasgow, where you'll bring all that experience to the team in purple.
Yeah, so I've been blessed. The game has treated me and my family so well. We've traveled extensively, and of course, having the privilege to coach at the University of Manitoba for that long of a tenure, I really appreciate that. And they were very supportive of my coaching development, and they allowed me to take leaves of absence to coach in Denmark. I also coached in the Austrian top league, which was also a very good experience. So all these amazing opportunities I've had through the game have really developed me, not only as a coach, but as a person, and my family as well, who've had some incredible experiences in their travels. And again, I'm blessed to have a wonderful wife who's been supportive of my career throughout my life, and three young men who are well on their way in their careers. So it's been great, and the adventure continues to Australia, now to Scotland, and still as energized and excited as ever.
You obviously love to sit back and just relax, Mike, because you're not doing anything right now. I mean, you're just moving house. You're just coming back from Australia. I believe your son just had a special graduation. So you love to just sit back and take it easy.
Oh, yeah. I think the only time I'm going to sit back and relax is on that 14-hour flight back to Australia, which I think I'll catch up on my sleep. But no, life's been busy. It's been great, but it's been busy. We came home from Australia for my son's graduation and his wedding the following week, and now we're moving house, and lots going on. But it's all good. It's all good.
Well, what an honor for you to actually spend your Winnipeg morning with us, because I believe the moving truck is pulling up outside. Like, there's no rest for the wicked. You're cutting it fine here.
Yeah, well, I rented the truck, so I'll be loading it myself with my wife and help here. So actually, chatting with you is a good break from all the work we've been doing the last few days.
Corey told us we did a clan gathering recently at the arena in Glasgow, and we had over 250 fans come out for the Q&A. And I really always enjoy talking to Corey, because he's such a student of the game himself. But he said you were highly recommended by someone I think that all Elite League fans think is a good character, Rick Strachan. So Rick Strachan, I believe he played for you in Milton Keynes, right? Is that correct?
Well, he did, but Strachan and I were teammates back in the day at the University of Manitoba, where we had
Of course, yeah.
We had some outstanding teams. We were one of the top programs in the country under legendary coach Wayne Fleming. So we were teammates at one time, and then when I got the job at Milton Keynes, he was already over here playing. I forget which team he was playing for at the time, but then he joined me in Milton Keynes the following year. So we had a really good run, and he's had a fantastic career in the UK. He's had amazing success in wherever he's been as a player, and of course a longtime assistant coach in Nottingham, and we still keep in touch.
Did he say to you, like, if you can get, in there and work with Corey to be a great situation for you? Like, did he kind of point you in the direction, or like, did he and Corey kind of have a conversation? Don't give too much away. I know it's probably personal as well, but it's always neat to me when good people come together and the result is good people working together.
Yeah, well, I had contacted Strack because I was helping the team in Brisbane, Australia, and we were looking for some import players. So I was using my connections in North America and elsewhere to see who was out there. So I contacted Strack to see if he knew of any players in the UK that might be interested in coming over to Australia for the summer. And that's where he started talking about the Corey, his longtime friend and coaching associate, going to Glasgow, and who was looking for an assistant coach. He said, "Do you want me to put your name?" And I said, "Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to talk to Corey." So that's where the next thing led to a phone conversation between Corey and I, and then Corey decided that he'd have the faith in me to hire me on. And again, I'm very thankful for the opportunity and very excited to come to Glasgow and help Corey and everybody involved in the organization to have a winning culture in Glasgow and moving up that table fast.
Yeah, he was pretty excited when your name came across his desk, and obviously Strax and he had a conversation, and we're delighted to have you because I think when you have people like that have the same vision, you mentioned there about same sort of values and the same sort of way you want to play, that's important, isn't it? And when you don't have a lot of time, it's not like the NHL where you can have a 5 or 6 week training camp, and like you guys are going to have to hit the ground running, so to speak. So it's important to share some of those same values and those same philosophies, isn't it?
It is very much so. And coaches have to be on the same page, but they also have to give their own insight and be respectful. Like my role as assistant coach, if I'll provide input to Corey and he'll obviously have the last call on any decisions and I totally respect it. Like he has the final say, and some things he might accept, some things he may dismiss and say no, he doesn't isn't comfortable with that. But so yeah, it's challenging each other a little bit. But once we make the final decision, once Corey makes that final decision, we're united front to present it to the players. And for me, the two most important aspects of an assistant coach are loyalty to the head coach, and having no ego. So I'm very content, comfortable to be behind the scenes and contributing wherever I can to help Corey and the team be successful.
So you've had a win as a Bison head coach in the Braehead Arena. So you've got that experience. You remember the Purple Army well. Did you get to explore Glasgow, or are you looking forward to anything in particular when you hit the shore, hit the ground running in Scotland?
Well, we only had one day, so we made the most of it and walked around downtown and popped into a couple of pubs and nothing in mind, just enjoying the Scottish culture. And as I said earlier, it's we love, my wife and I love Scotland, and we really love Glasgow, and it's mostly about the people, and the people are very much like Western Canadian people, hardworking, down to earth, friendly. So we're very much excited and looking forward to living in Glasgow this coming fall, winter.
Are you going to bring your golf clubs? Because we said this to some of the players, so I will say the same to you. There's some great golf courses in Scotland, of course. That's no news to anyone. But some of our players are pretty good golfers, and I'm sure the likes of a Robert Lakovich would love to take you out for a round of golf if you do golf.
Well, I'm not much of a golfer, just never seem to have had the time too much. But yeah, I've heard that it's a home of golf. Scotland's a home of golf. So.
Lots of good live music venues, lots of good restaurants, and I'm sure you and your wife, is your wife excited? Because that's important too, right? Like I live in Ireland, I travel a lot for work, and you certainly need that support system around you, whether it's family or whatever. So is your wife excited about making the move as well? You said that she's looking forward to it, but like is there any sort of trepidation? Because again, I guess it's another move and you'll be away from the kids.
No, not at all. She's very much looking forward to it. Again, she's an incredible, amazing person, and she loves to travel and meet new people and have new experiences. And her and I are both very easygoing people, so we can adjust easily to wherever we are and welcome the opportunity to meet new people and explore new areas. And she's very excited to come over.
Well,
And
the
our,
fans
our
will.
boys, our boys will probably join us at Christmas. We'll see how
Oh, of
these
course, yeah, yeah. Well, the fans will definitely welcome you as a family with open arms, and certainly I think you and Corey are going to have some fun. It's the Elite League gets better year on year, and we joke about the Belfast Giants. A treble 2 years ago, and then the Sheffield Steelers last year. And it just seems to be that the Elite League gets better year on year. So it's so important that Corey has that experience, you have that international experience. Is there any of the players that we've announced so far that you've kind of went, okay, I'm really looking forward to working with him, or is it just as a group the philosophy is, I'm looking forward to working for everybody or with everybody?
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to working with everybody and doing what I can to contribute to each individual player's continued development and, of course, the team's development. But Corey's done a terrific job already with some signings, and that excites me. And some of the local Scottish players that he's already signed, like Alex Forbes and all the import players as well. You mentioned Landon Bow and Simon Dupree, just for example. I don't want to mention too many names because, of course, I'm going to forget somebody, but he's made some very impressive signings already, and that excites me as well. I mean, other Scottish players like Reese Kelly, your local British players like Lakovic and Hazeldine and the goalie Brian. I mean, those are really good signings, and plus the imports that he's already signed, and the other list of imports I know he's negotiating with currently. So there's very good reason for the fans to be excited at the great work that Corey has already done in a short time with the clan.
Yeah, there's exciting times ahead in purple. Look, it's not for you to worry about. Last year was disappointing, but you have to learn from those disappointments and you have to move forward. And certainly everyone at the organization, whether it be players or people behind the scenes and now the coaching staff, everyone has the right ideas, I think, in mind and the right philosophy to move forward. You're busy. The moving truck is outside. You've got a busy day ahead there. Just one final note. Do you have a message to the Purple Army before you sign off? And the next time you'll be chatting with them, some of them will be in person.
Well, just to thank them for their support of the clan through the years, and again, I've seen them in person. The incredible fans, passionate, loyal, and just that Corey and I and everybody in the organization, of course, the players are going to do everything we can to put a product on the ice that's going to be a winning product and play exciting, entertaining hockey and a team that the fans are going to be proud of.
Well, Mike Sirant, best of luck with your house move. Enjoy the rest of the summer and all the travels to Australia and all points in between. We're delighted to have you on the bench with Corey Neilson for the upcoming season. It's one of those ones where I think there's a lot of excitement and with good reason, as you said. There's a lot of big signings to come. So thanks for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us on Clan Chat.
Oh, my pleasure. It's a pleasure. Enjoy to be here.